You know, it's kind of astounding the amount of time and energy that a lot of us put into sex. You know, paying for it through OnlyFans and escorts, swiping through dating apps all day, spending all of our hard-earned money on women hoping to sleep with them, watching hours of content titled things like text her this to make her like you, all that kind of stuff. We're doing this just to obtain a few seconds of pleasure. I mean, you do realize that, right? And this isn't anything new. This has been like this for thousands of years. But I feel like now it's at the point where our sexual urges are controlling every single aspect of our life. I mean, it like rules our world. And when you have something like this controlling you, you may not realize it, but it shows in the way that we interact with other people, and it shows in the way that we carry ourselves, especially when we're dealing with women, because if our mind is so wrapped up in like all of these fantasies and all of this porn addiction, we're sort of unconsciously always looking to gain something from them, you know what I mean? And I'm mostly just speaking from my own experience here, and I would imagine that a lot of people can agree with me, is that when I decided to kind of free myself from these clutches of sex, and I started practicing like a way more celibate kind of lifestyle, I felt way more free. The truth is that sex can be a very beautiful thing. It's the type of energy that two people share with each other who have a really strong connection, a really strong chemistry. But we live in a society that's taken something that's beautiful and has turned it into this like grotesque money-making scheme. So now everybody's just addicted to it in the worst way, you know what I mean? I don't think it was always like that. And now obviously I'm not saying this is the case for everybody because I don't know every single person's story. It depends on a lot of factors like your culture, your religion, where you grew up, things like that. And I do believe that the majority of men are well-intentioned and they do just want to have a healthy sexual relationship with somebody. But the constant consumption of pornography has led us to become completely dictated by our sexual urges, and we have like zero sexual discipline, And these sexual urges have become so strong over the course of the years that they dictate our actions in a sense. And this has caused us to lose touch with our authentic self, and it shows in the way that we interact with people. And I've fallen victim to this too, by the way. And whether you're actually, chasing the act of sex, or you're chasing female validation, or anything in that realm, obsessing over it and chasing these things is very damaging to your self-esteem. And I've been on both sides of this. And I can tell you that living a life free of lust is like ultimate freedom, because you no longer have that sex shackle on you. And just to be clear, sexual cravings and desires are a totally normal part of our biology. Even when you do live more of that like celibate semen retention lifestyle, there's always going to be some lustful thinking to some degree, even a little bit. And there's always going to be sexual urges. They're just going to diminish greatly over time. But like I said, society has become so sexualized that we have become absolute slaves to it, Being a slave to something like this is so powerful that it's going to bring you down in ways that you may not even realize. It surfaces as things like poor eye contact, poor communication, low confidence, low self-esteem, neediness, clinginess, beta male behaviors, weakness, all types of things. I mean, think about all the stupid nonsense that guys put themselves through for sex, especially the types that are dating like some abusive, controlling woman. And I'm not saying that all men stay in relationships like this just for the aspect of sex. There's probably always a lot more to it. It's probably very complex and nuanced, but there definitely are a large majority who put themselves in these like self-deprecating situations just for the physical intimacy. And when you begin to have more sexual discipline, you'll no longer put yourselves in those kinds of situations. You'll have way more self-respect. And in turn, this is going to make you way more attractive. This type of discipline is the strongest and best discipline you can have. It's going to overflow into other areas of life. If you can gain control over something as strong as your sexual desires, you're going to be able to gain control over anything else that you want to do. So for example, you need a lot of discipline to wake up every morning and make your mental and physical health a priority. It's easy to just lay in bed and scroll through your phone, but you need a lot of discipline to actually get up and take care of yourself. This includes things like meditating, journaling, exercising, and just generally taking care of your body, especially your skin. Which is why, if you guys don't mind, I would like to introduce today's sponsor, Tiege Hanley. Tiege Hanley is a men's skincare brand that makes the skincare process easy. I've been personally using them for the past few months, and I can confidently say that my skin looks and feels the best that it ever has. Tiege Hanley has an extremely simple skincare system. They send you everything you need and nothing that you don't. In every level 1 set, there's a daily face wash, an exfoliating scrub, AM moisturizer, and a PM moisturizer. I personally really like the AM moisturizer the most. I'm like motivated to put it on every day because it comes with SPF 20, which is the main ingredient in sunblock. So not only is it keeping your face hydrated and healthy, it's also protecting it from the sun. It's important to always protect your skin from the sun, guys, even in the winter. This is something I've avoided for many years. Research has shown that constant exposure to the sun can increase the risk of cancer and cause aging and dried, cracked skin. I think one of the reasons that men avoid taking care of their skin and they avoid this whole process is because it's kind of confusing. There's all like the different creams and stuff. You don't really know what to put on and when, but every Teach Hanley set comes with an instruction card. It tells you exactly what to do, when to do it, so they make the process really easy. And if you're a little skeptical about whether or not this is the right choice for you, they have over 7,000 5-star reviews from customers all around the world. In addition to amazing skin, members of Teach Hanley get amazing benefits, including at least 20% off the retail price, access to monthly deals, you can pause or cancel your account at any time, and free US shipping. And because they're sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers a great deal. Just click the first link in the description and you'll get 30% off your first box plus a free gift. Don't miss out on this amazing deal, guys. Click the link and get started today. You know, when I first discovered Buddhism a few years ago, it really spoke to me. I started reading a couple of books by the Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh, and I feel like a light bulb sort of went off in my head. And no matter what religion you belong to, whether you're Christian, Muslim, or if you don't even believe in religion at all, there's some very valuable advice that you can learn here. The essence of Buddhism is that all humans are essentially unhappy and dissatisfied because we're always chasing after that next thing. Whether it's money, fame, sex, attention, we chase and chase, but it's never enough. You know, we think there's gonna be like some end destination with all of this where we can finally sit back and say, yep, I finally have achieved it all. I've got all the money I want, all the sex I want, I finally have obtained everything. And unless you have a regular gratitude practice, which most average folks don't, most people are actually pretty ungrateful, you will never be satisfied. And this is essentially what all of the Eastern philosophies like Buddhism, Hinduism, Taoism, this is what they all teach, that it's like this never-ending cycle of chasing external stuff. And this is especially true, I would say probably true the most with things like, validation from the opposite sex, sexual experiences in themselves, and even sometimes long-term relationships, even people chase that. They're just chasing relationship after relationship. You see, we're very similar to monkeys, the way that we think and the way that we act. We see something that we want or that we think we're supposed to have, and we will try our hardest, in this case sex, and we will literally try our hardest to figure out how to get it. And sometimes it's good to have this kind of motivation and discipline to obtain certain things in life, but something like a sexual experience has very little reward. I was reflecting a lot on this recently, and I started thinking like, how about instead of putting all of our time and energy into acquiring things, why don't we just relinquish the desire for it in the first place? So for example, instead of trying to scrape up some money for, a pair of shoes that you may not even need, why don't you try to find appreciation in the shoes that you already own? Instead of spending money on something like OnlyFans, why don't you put your focus on actually building better relationships with maybe some women that you already know, or women that you have in your life already, which is something that's actually going to help you grow as a person. Learning how to gain control over these desires is going to help you grow and strengthen you so much more than if you actually just had given into the desire and figured out, try to jump through all these hoops to try to get whatever the thing is. You also feel a lot better too. You got to remember that if you focus more on fostering healthy relationships with women, sex will always naturally come as a byproduct of that. And whether or not you decide that a long-term relationship is for you, maybe it's not, whatever, you'll always learn something about yourself from the experience. Dating brings out a lot of dark aspects of our personality that we can always use to become better people. But it's up to you to be able to recognize that and to take some accountability. You won't learn anything from emotionless, quick sex other than the fact that it's a waste of time. And when you finally embody this and truly understand it and sometimes experience it for yourself, dating and attracting women comes so much easier because you no longer need it. You don't come off as some thirsty dog. This is the essence of becoming detached and not being too needy. When you have the ability to meet a woman and actually allow something to grow with her naturally, and you're the one who isn't trying to rush into things, you're not trying to rush to something physical, you're not trying to rush to sex, this will always come off as extremely attractive to her. I mean, you still want to be able to get physical with a woman to some degree, because if you don't, then she might think you're not interested in her, or, she might lose interest. I mean, I'm not saying don't touch her or kiss her at all, but if you're just always trying to rush to have sexual, intercourse right away, this is always going to be a turnoff. For the right women, let me be clear, for the right women, it'll be a turnoff. In my own experience, a lot of the time when the sex happened way too soon, it would almost ruin things because we would just move way too fast. But when you take things slow and you actually focus on growing together as two people, that's where the real value is. The quick sex is just something that appeals to your reptilian brain. And also, when you do get sexual with each other, it's very likely that someone is going to get attached. You either both will get attached or one person will get attached to the other more than the other one. And you have to understand this and you have to make sure you're ready for this. So overall, there isn't really any huge secret I have for you to get better at being sexually disciplined. It'll come with practice. It'll come with shining a lot of awareness on your sexual urges, just getting better at controlling doing them. I would recommend maybe cutting out everything sexual. You know, that's what worked for me. Quit the porn, we just try to move away from this very sexualized society we live in, even the music and all of it. Like, just try to take a break from all of that. And make sure when you are dealing with women that you're always very patient. You know, don't come off too thirsty. Don't do any kind of like simping or any of that. In the book, The Way of the Superior Man, which I highly recommend you guys read, it's a really great book. He says that it's really important to not allow your sexual urges to make you too weak. Because if you're weakened by your sexual urges, then what other areas of life are you weakened by, you know? And he says that this can show in the way that a woman perceives you. This is why he also says, if I remember correctly, that it's really important to learn how to last longer. Because if she can just take your sexual energy away from you so quickly because you have zero sexual discipline, I guess in a way it kind of makes you seem very weak, you know? And it also makes you feel weak too. You can get better at this kind of stuff, like the sexual discipline in terms of just being able to last longer and, you know, not ejaculate so quickly. This comes with getting in touch with your physical body. You have to learn to really let your body go and stay in a very relaxed state. You don't want to just wait until you're doing something sexual to practice this. You have to practice this on a daily basis. I can almost guarantee that you all have a lot of tension throughout your body, and you have to kind of learn to let go of that. Practice this throughout the day, just letting go, letting your shoulders go, relaxing your pelvic floor, you know, taking really deep breaths in through your stomach. Most of us are breathing the wrong way. We're taking very shallow breaths only in our chest. You want to learn to really breathe. You have to constantly breathe all the way down into your stomach and out. Like that. You should be breathing like that basically all day long. And like I said, this isn't something you should just start doing when you feel sexual urges. It's something that you want to make a consistent habit. You have to make a daily practice of this, almost like as a preventative. When you do this stuff every day, the urges will no longer appear, or they'll at the very least, you know, lessen greatly. Sex will always feel good in the moment, but the truth is, it wears off. You may feel great about it for the day after, even a couple of days, but you know what? After a week or so, it kind of just becomes a memory, and now you're back to just chasing it again. You're right back on that hamster wheel. Remember that, you know, no sexual experience is worth sacrificing anything crazy or degrading yourself in any way. You have to learn to just enjoy the sexual experiences as they come without getting too attached. Appreciate the experience, but stay detached. Let it come and go. That's going to significantly decrease the amount of stress you put on yourself. You can't put all of your energy and happiness into these momentary feelings, all right? They are fleeting. This is only going to result in misery. All right, guys, so I know this one was a little kind of all over the place maybe, but it was a lot of information. I hope you guys liked it. I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know what you think, and I will definitely see you guys in the next one. Thank you.